Hello everyone, it's Roger here from Infinity and Beyond, presented by Animation Kingdom with my co-host Abe from over in Los Angeles.
How's it going, everybody?
Alright, okay, this is episode 11 of the webcast, and on today's shows we are going to be looking at the daily challenge on the PC, a look at the PC version, JV asking for some skill updates for 1.0 characters, a little bit of patch, and a little bit of talk about the toy boxes, and more importantly, we're going to be talking about the Avengers playset as our featured topic for the week. Okay, so let's kick things off with the news. Okay, so I'm going to kick off with a lot of the news from this week, which started with the PC version becoming available. So that's now available to everyone. I'm hoping if everyone has actually tried to install it. I tried it on my laptop, and my laptop is not powerful enough to run it. It's a very, very sluggish, very, very slow. So I'm putting that down purely as my laptop, and that's pretty much the main reason I think it's not quite up to the job.
Yeah, don't look at me either.
No, no, no,
I
that's
haven't
fine.
played it on PC at all.
So the thing is, with the PC version, it is completely free to use. So you can, and it's available everywhere in the world, and you can use the toy box, you can use the play sets, you can use the toy box game discs, all the characters from the first one and the new game. And they've also introduced a friend recruitment program where players can invite other friends in, and the more time they play, then you'll be able to unlock free characters. So there's a sort of a way of getting people into the game. When you start off, you can try out. I think it was the Avengers playset, and you get 3 different characters that you can use as part of the demo. But it's pretty. It's not. It's not exactly too cheap if you want to just go down the digital PC version. The Marvel Superhero Starter Pack will cost you $50 with access to some of the characters and the toy box game discs. And if you want the Superheroes Mega Starter Pack, which is $130, where you get all 3 playsets, the 16 superheroes, and the 2 game discs. But you can cherry pick what you want, etc. as well. And if you've got any characters from the first game, you can use those web codes, and you can also use your web codes from if you actually buy the toys as well. It definitely seems to me like this year they're trying to go after as many markets as possible. PC, iPhone, trying to get the game out onto everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I see it working for like tablet versions and whatnot, but I don't know. It sounds more like there's not that much interest for the PC. I mean, they're giving the game away. They're creating recruiting programs. They're even creating alternate exclusive PC figures, like the variant of Baymax that they
Yeah,
announced. And I think last year was the Glow Buzz that didn't come out to everybody who wanted them as a figure. It was just exclusive to the PC. So I don't know. It's great, for those who just play on their PC and like those online MMORPG players, like World of Warcraft or whatnot, but completely different genre of games, so I
yeah.
don't know if that would be appealing. More so for the kids, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I think as well as it's getting the game out there from extra people, and like you said, I think once it hits the iPad, it's only going to be the toy box. I don't think you're going to do the play sets, and also like there's a lot more people with tablets anyway now,
Right.
and to be honest, I look at this. This is one of the things with Disney Infinity is, and I think it probably could very much be like that on the consoles as well. Really, is they're essentially giving away Disney Infinity for free. They're giving away the game, but if you
Mm.
want to do anything with it, you're gonna have to buy the extras. And that seems to be the model for most like games nowadays, specifically on like
Right.
tablets and stuff.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, it's like on the console. If they let you download the game for free, and then if you wanted to do anything, you'd have to go out and buy the play sets. That seems to be how and like we've said last week, the cost of like the starter packs doesn't really actually include the cost of the actual game.
Well, I mean, that's the trend with any online gaming now too. I mean, even with apps, you
Yeah,
download the game for free, but if you want to, get additional income, I mean, additional information like maybe something to pass the level or some jewels or whatever, you have to pay extra. So
yeah. Okay, so we're going to leave the PC version there and on to something that was a little lot more exciting. Executive producer John Vanacci was asking people on Twitter this week for suggestions for skill updates for the 1.0 characters on the new 2.0 game. And a lot of people, including myself, etc., were sort of, asking to make like Syndrome fly,
hmm
Wreck-It Ralph to climb walls, and things like I think like Buzzfly, and basically just trying to add more content to the 1.0 characters,
right,
which I think is a great thing. They're obviously looking at the fact that a lot of the figures from the first game maybe needed a few more tweaks because I know they were given skill trees. They weren't really given anything new. They were still the sort of same characters,
yeah,
and I like the fact that they're going back and looking at them again and sort of continuing to upgrade, which shows you that maybe 2.0 wasn't fully ready when they launched it, or B, that they're just going to continue to add more content to the game as they go along digitally through updates, etc.
yeah. Well, I was also thinking of some myself. In fact, I was taking notes before I got on the webcast with you today, and I was thinking they haven't done anything, even with any of the Marvel figures at least, that I can see. Also, like item or vehicle buffs per se. Like, what if
Mm.
Vanellope had like an extra boost in driving a vehicle,
Yeah,
or she had a little bit more speed per se, or even one of the Cars figures, could do something like, for example, what if Mater had an alternate driving backwards mode because
yeah.
he's the expert at driving backwards. So something like that. But yeah, it's cool that they're definitely digging back to the original roots of Infinity, the all the figures that began it all. So
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
that's really cool.
it's that kind of thing of I think I think in the Skylanders every year you'd get like a new WoW power. Quite often you get a new sort of power, and it feels. I mean, they went to the I know they've got to add probably a lot more hard work than we think it is, but people like Buzz and Syndrome sort of equal themselves to flying so much that they should be there, and maybe Mr. Incredible could do with I don't know if he's quite as strong as the Hulk or if anything like that, but
Well, he should have at least like like what do you call it, like a super jump,
yeah,
or even give Elastigirl, or Mrs. Incredible per se, give her like a new unique feature, which is where she can stretch. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like maybe instead of wall crawling or something, she can like stretch and then pull herself up, something like that.
And also, it makes sense from the point of view if they're deciding to carry on having single figures all out available for people to buy. If you've just picked up 2.0 like now, and you just picked up, for example, like Woody, you know, the game keeps going on, and you don't necessarily, and even in a few years, in a few games' time, a lot of these characters are still going to be on the shelves because they don't need to take them off.
That's correct. Yeah, and in fact, if they end up, ever creating content for, the existing figures, they're still going to be relevant. So,
Mm.
yeah,
Okay, so,
that's
so that's going to be exciting. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. Quite often, the sort of JV and the Disney Infinity team reach out to the community and ask them for their opinions. I know they did it a couple of weeks ago. They asked for what characters do we want to see in the future, and they did that last year, which is why we got Stitch and Merida, and that's what they're doing. They keep asking us what we want, and then they then deliver it. Which
we
I
were
think,
so close to getting Darkwing Duck. I was
yeah,
so happy. So close. We got to keep saying it. We need
yeah,
him.
and some Chip and Dale. That's what we want.
Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be cool too.
Well, there was also a patch this week.
hmm
Now included in the patch, you got the Treehouse Creator was fixed.
hmm
There was some stability issue improvements, and the general load times were improved for the PS4. Now this
Yeah,
is only a little update. There's going to be a huge one next month,
right.
which is supposed to be fixing thousands of problems that they've come across. And basically, if you find a problem in Disney Infinity, let the team know, through Twitter or an email, because there's been issues like, for example, like a toy should be available, but it's not showing up. So if you let them know, it should. I mean, it's one side of things. A lot of this stuff should have been tested, but also with thousands of toys and little connections, it's easy to see how little issues could develop. But if you let them know,
Yeah.
they can fix it.
Aside from, the improved PS4 times, I did notice even a cosmetic improvement that makes the loading times seem shorter,
Yes,
which
there's
is they
a little
added the little
bar.
bar.
That
Yeah.
makes. I'm not. I found that has made a huge difference. I don't know if the game has actually.
Psychologically, yeah.
I don't know if it has improved the load times. I don't know if
I haven't. I have noticed a little bit of improvement. I don't want to say like when I'm playing multiplayer online with people, yeah,
Yeah.
it seems to take a while, but it has improved a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem as bad as it was, but I don't know if that bar psychologically, when you see it half done and then it seems to jump up a bit. I don't know. It feels like you're getting somewhere, and you don't notice it as bad.
Yeah, it's good. It's definitely a nice little added feature
And
because it helps.
yeah, and I know that apparently they are trying to get the load times down on the next update, so that hopefully they do know that it's an issue.
Right.
So that's good, and that is a major reason why to have your console connected to the internet is, you're gonna need to keep getting these updates, and they're gonna keep adding stuff to the game after it, and this is what it's an online game essentially, and that's what you.
And there's no other way to play the two unrevealed figures.
No.
You have no choice.
No, you got to connect it up. So
Yeah.
that was the PC version. And there's the update. So that was quite cool. That was it's great to see that they can keep patching, and I think we'll see a lot of this stuff this side of Christmas. I think even the big
absolutely.
update will probably get a lot more afterwards.
Yeah, I'm thinking it might be November. When the originals come out, they might need to release
Yeah.
it. So.
And also there was a tweet that went out saying that there would be no retailer exclusives actual figures this year. So like last year, I think like Best Buy had Wreck-It Ralph and Walmart had Woody. They decided not to go with that route this year.
Yeah, GameStop had Jack Skellington as well. Yeah.
It makes sense. I mean, I think they went down the line that they don't want too many exclusives. They just want people to be able to buy the item without any hassle.
It's also not fair to those people who don't have like that specific store nearby. You know what I mean? It's good that they're keeping it fair to everybody. I mean, they're not doing retail exclusives. They're not doing variant figures. They're not doing obviously time exclusive for retailers. So it's like they're obviously doing this for the fans, which is everybody gets Infinity at the same time. So
and
except
also
the UK, who gets it 3 days before us.
Yeah.
Other than that.
Yeah, but then we get the Toy Box starter pack a few days later than you guys.
That's true.
So it all equals out eventually. I think I saw Donald Duck had been released in the Netherlands.
Yeah, that's what I noticed too. I mean, I first I thought like, how did they get it? But no, it looks like some of the retailers are already putting them on the shelves.
Actually, here in the UK, a lot of the retailers have got down the 24th for Donald, and the same day as Hulk. I've placed a pre-order to see if I can get it on the 24th as well.
Awesome.
So I don't know quite why Donald's kind of slipping through. I don't know where that's coming from, but pretty much 90% of the retailers in the UK have got them down for the 24th. So that may be a specific reason that they've done that.
24th. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot earlier.
Yeah. But then but then we don't get Hero and Baymax till February. So
yeah,
it's a really weird thing being sort of international. Everyone gets different dates, etc.
Yeah.
Also this week, we had the New York City Comic Con, which obviously took place in New York. Our own Travis was at the event, and there was a panel for Disney Infinity. I haven't seen any video footage of that just yet. There doesn't appear to have been any big breaking news
reveals.
coming in. No, there was nothing that came out of it. So we'll probably find out a little bit more about that from Travis later in the week, once he's sort of back into the world of reality after 4 or 5 days in a Comic Con, running around after all those Funko Pops and all the bits and pieces there and different meetings. It looked like, for me, that looking at the pictures of the event, it looks like it's really started to get a lot bigger.
At least in New York, I mean, because the one in San Diego
Yeah.
has just gone ridiculous. It's almost kind of a pain to go to it because it's just too big. But it's starting to see that New York's is getting bigger and bigger too.
Yeah,
So
just looking at the pictures and stuff, it's looking pretty intense. I know they
yeah,
were giving away some Marvel figures at the panel show, and I think they went within seconds. Um, they didn't last too long. And
yeah.
also, they put out two. The Toy Box team put out two toy boxes. And did you get the chance to play those two?
Yeah, actually, I only got to play the one that you showed, the panel, the Q&A.
Yeah,
I saw you playing it on your video, and I kind of wanted to try it myself because I noticed that you would jump to the next question, and that would just eliminate the enemies.
yeah.
So I kind of figured I want to play it and do its justice, and it's fun. It's cool, a nice little trivia thing. It's a simple little game. I didn't try the other one though.
Yeah, I mean, what I found with the trivia game was, again, these are put out by the Toy Box team, so there's an element that they can keep bringing out content. They did the same with Good Morning America a couple of weeks ago. Quick little toy boxes, a little bit of promotion, very easy to do, and these are just bonus toy boxes. But what I loved about this trivia one was the questions and the answers and how to do it. You know, we've not seen anything like that before.
No, no, it just again it gives you just a bigger picture of how amazing the new toy box is,
Yeah,
and what you can do. I mean, I played one of the other toy boxes that I'm sure we'll get to in a little bit, but it's just amazing how you'll go through one door and you're in this brand new place.
yeah.
It's a brand new toy box, and you have little messages popping up and little counters and location things. It's very cool. This appeal to the toy box
Yeah.
is night and day compared to the 1.0 toy
And
box, in my
I
opinion.
mean, it's like the other toy box that they had was I think it was the collector challenge. Now, you had to collect like all these little, all the little townspeople and put them through a box. But I couldn't find the last guy, so I don't know. I never actually completed the toy box.
Oh, I see.
I ran around for like 10 minutes trying to find the last sort of Guardians of the Galaxy, but it never sort of finished, even though I put
Mm.
them all in. So I was a bit like that was a bit down. But that's sometimes what happens. Sometimes the logic. I know there is a problem with some of the toy boxes. Sometimes some of the logic drops out. That should be fixed and then update. Um,
Yeah.
I know, like when I've been building toy boxes, you put the logic in, it works. You come in and come back out again, and it can be gone. So and going by some of the other toy boxes from this week, that isn't the only case, because this week's top 5 were again all from the Toy Box Summit from a few weeks ago, and I know a few of the artists were saying that certain things of their toy boxes weren't working properly. Um,
Yeah, there's quite a few things they need to patch in and fix. I
yeah,
mean, I was still having trouble with the little sidekicks.
yeah,
They were more of a nuisance than help, if anything. But
yeah.
again, that's something you have to fix with
Yeah.
patches. So.
I mean, some of the new with this week's toy boxes, we had We Are Groot's, which you had to. I don't think that was the one I didn't play. Shield's Agent Training. It was by Mr. Monkey, and you had to run around and different areas that you could play with. Rex's Home, which was Model Train Man. That was quite funny because so many of the toy boxes were sort of Marvel themed, and he went completely back to Disney, back to Toy Story. So that was quite fun. Disneyland 2022 was a nice little toy box. Lots of it was basically sort of Disneyland underwater, and it was a good little thing just to fly around in.
Yeah.
But what was really difficult was Dizzy Town. Did you try that toy box?
Disney Town, no. I actually tried a few others. They weren't this week's 5
No.
though, but some of the previous ones.
Dizzy Town was a very it was it's hard. I almost think it was a bit, like the old Dizzy, the old game. I don't know if you remember that one. I might be showing my age there. It was a little little character that used to run around. And with this game, you had to use the buttons to move around rather than using your D-pad. And also, what you had to do is, as every time you got into a new area, you had to turn the controller around because the buttons changed direction.
Oh wow.
So you had to literally turn. You'd have to turn the whole thing upside down at one point when you went into one section, and it was so hard. So I've got to give credit to one of the Infinity and Beyond members, John Crocker, for actually completing it, because I couldn't do it. It was really, really hard. and it
I
says
want
so
to.
at the
I want
beginning.
to try that now.
It's done by the Toy Box team, so again, it's very different. It's something we just didn't get in the first game, and I would
Disney
recommend.
Town.
It's one of those things of going off and trying that one.
I will definitely do that, and
Right.
I'll update you.
Yes, I mean, that's the thing is, it's trying to. Specifically, I think at this time, where we're still only a few weeks into the game, trying to get time to play the toy boxes while still trying to do the play sets, trying to build your own toy boxes. It's. I mean, I know I've spent a lot of time this week going through the Avengers play set, and also trying to finish off my toy box. So, I've only played through the toy boxes that were sort of developer picks. I haven't even had a chance to get into other people's suggestions because it's just the amount of time that would be required.
There's just a lot of great stuff out there. So
Right, and speaking of the Avengers, this week's sort of major feature theme is basically both myself and Abe have been going through the Avengers playset, and we're just going to have a general just sort of discussion about that specific playset. Now,
Mhm.
it's worth noting that obviously it comes with the starter pack for the Marvel side. It is also going to be available next month in November as a pack. I think it's Iron Man and Black Widow. So if you pick up the digital or the toy box starter pack, you can go out and just buy the playset. So that's a little bit of information for anyone that's coming in on the Disney side.
Mhm.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on the Avengers playsets, just as a general overview?
Well, I enjoyed it. I've actually played through it twice already. Uh, Reason behind it is again has to do with little bugs and things that they have to go through and fix. But I enjoyed it. It was good. I do see that if you really dedicated only time to the story, that you can finish it in literally like 3 hours maybe. And
Mm.
you'd be done 3 or 4 hours. But there's so much to do. Like I've been dedicating time to completing all the feats. That way I feel like I
Yeah.
accomplished the whole game. But the missions are fun. A lot of people have been saying not only for Avengers but for all the playsets, you don't really get to fight, the villain as much. But
No.
keep in mind that I was gonna say I think they did that on purpose because of last year how, you know, you were Syndrome fighting Syndrome, so it didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So
I must admit, there was a couple of things. Obviously, I mean, the last big battle with the Frost Giant was frustrating at the beginning until I worked out what I did. I had all 7 or 8 characters out, all the Rocket and Nova in there, and they all got completely annihilated, and I had to restart because I was running up the arm and running on. I literally got. For about 2 minutes, I had Black Widow on top of the Frost Giant's head, just shooting at him. And I go, well, it's not moving. What? And it took me a while to realise you have to basically attack his hand, and then when I had a second go, I managed to complete it. But yes, with that one boss giant, you are going to need characters leveled up. You're going to need as many of them as you can get. That was a challenge, and I really enjoyed it actually.
yeah, I thought it was really good too. I had the same experience first time around. I couldn't even figure out what I was supposed to do. Um, so I mean, I went through all the figures. I mean, including Rocket and
Yeah.
Nova. But yeah, just when you got to play, it was great, and it kind of gives you an idea why they even went that route to choose
Yeah,
the Frost Giant for the collector's
yeah,
edition. Because
does make sense after you've done it. It's like the battle with Loki that was kind of like the sort of the mid-level boss. I thought that was good. It's that kind of thing as well. Of I'd kind of like to have had a little, that thing of you battled the boss and then they escape and then you got to do it again later on with. It seems a bit of a kind of. I mean, I remember from the Guardians playset, which we'll discuss in the later show. That same feeling of, well, I kind of would like to sort of had a little bit more to do with
yeah,
them. And then
yeah,
MODOK was, I did this challenge where I take out the like the drones, and next thing you know, they've got this clip of Nova then loading MODOK onto the back of a truck, and they've said they've just defeated him, and I'm like, well, I never even saw him.
yeah. He was like missing in action. I like well, we were being distracted. All
Yeah,
the other Avengers took care of it. So
it was just like, well, there was no big. It just felt like I just remember him getting loaded into the truck, and I was like, well, I didn't even fight him. How did we defeat him? It
Yeah.
just seemed like a bit like, well, don't if they were going to go that route, they might as well have just not bothered putting him in there.
I mean, yeah, I do see why he's in there because I mean, it kind of makes sense for him building the technology for helping Loki with the weather change and whatnot.
Yeah, it
But I do get the point that, hey, at least let me slap the guy around a few times, you know what I
you
mean?
know at
Like, let
least yeah,
me.
it just felt like okay, that was it. But I mean, I found the Avengers playset to be a lot of fun. It was I thought it was a lot more. Um, I know it was some people said about like doing the same sort of challenges over and over again. Well, that's kind of that's kind of what Disney Infinity is. There's only a limited amount what they could do within a playset. Pick a character up, throw it into a zone, go defeat some enemies. That was pretty much standard.
But I don't see why they complain because that's exactly what you do in every game,
Yeah,
not just
that
Infinity.
was just like
Every game you do the same thing.
yeah, that's that was I thought that was fine. I think I found the whole sort of playset. It's so big, and I just found
Yeah.
I was just forever just using Iron Man, Nova, and sort of Thor to run around or fly around the area, and then I'd throw Hulk in just to kick ass when I needed him to, because to be honest, when you're in a battle with the big giants, he's the best person to use at that point.
Yeah. I mean, and just also to add to the whole Avengers thing, I mean, keep in mind a lot of people who are frustrated with that one last Nova token. Once you find it, or even finding all the rocket tokens, which are easy, you also have added missions with those two
Yeah,
figures. Then collecting all the tech boxes and the flying boxes, that's a challenge in itself. Some people have been frustrated, and we've been helping each other out to find them, but that also is
yeah.
awesome.
It
And
took
then
me. Yeah,
Go ahead.
it took me a while to find the last Nova token. I spent a while flying around. Rocket, I got within like an hour of playing the game, but Nova was a little bit more spread out, I think.
Yeah, they were all pretty. Yeah, Nova as well. But what else was I saying? Yeah, there's also the challenges too.
Mhm.
The you know uh, pop the bubbles
Yeah.
and race and fly. There's even if correct me if I'm wrong, Roger. There's also two figure exclusive missions. One of them is Hulk, which apparently I'm still top scorer
No,
on
you've been knocked
PS4.
off. You got knocked off
Really?
yesterday, yeah.
Oh, no problem. I'm gonna change that because I just leveled Hulk to 20 again, so I'm happy.
Yeah,
And
I'm.
then there's also Iron Man, right? Those are the only two that I saw.
I think I've only played the Hulk one. I finished off the main story last night against the Frost Giant, and I know I've still got a few of those green challenges. I was kind of sort of I was not really avoiding them, but I wasn't really spending too much time focused on them while I was going through the main story. I figured I'd go back and do them later. And it's like those little boxes. They are quite difficult to find. I know
Yeah.
it's that thing as well of because they don't highlight when you're not playing as that character. It can be
And
quite tricky to see.
I like that they did that too, because it makes you want to play every figure as opposed to, well, I'm just gonna run around and hold. Well, you're not gonna see the flying
Well,
tokens
I
most
mean,
of the
for
hour.
me, I'm flying around usually as Iron Man over the whole city, trying to spot stuff in the sky. So I can
Yeah.
spot, so it's like, for example, the flying boxes. I think I'm up to about 16 out of 20 because I'm flying around and I can see them.
Right.
But
But then you have to fly under things too, and you have to fly through things too to find them
yeah,
all. So it's crazy.
but like for example, then from the other side of because I'm not crawling any walls, you're not seeing those I'm only got like 3 of those boxes because even though I play as Hulk a lot, it's very much I drop him down, he deals with that because I just find the whole thing. I love Hulk's jump, but trying to get around the playset with him like that, it just feels quite cumbersome when I know I can just chuck Iron Man on and fly off.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially if you spec them all the way up to his fastest flight, it's just a breeze. It's awesome.
and it's one of the things that I loved about the playset was I was constantly jumping. I had that big boss finish, and I had all of the figures all in front of me, and I'm jumping between them all. And we never did that in the first game, and that's what
No, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
And if I was playing quite often, I wouldn't maybe necessarily have all 7 characters or 8 of them out. I would have maybe Hulk, Iron Man, and Nova out for a while. So even if I was just doing a small little session, I still needed a few characters for that specific reason.
Yeah, what made me swap figures in 1.0 was those little vaults. That's the
Yeah,
only time I would switch. But like just like, oh, I need
yeah,
Buzz's flight ability, or I need Woody's I don't know, round up with the
yeah,
rope ability. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like you didn't have that thought in your head when you were on 1.0. So
No, and I think that is a huge improvement. And because I know when I was playing Swap Force, that was something I was doing all the time. I thought, oh, this is quite fun. This is a lot. This is the thing. If you've got these figures, use them. And while playing for the Avengers playset, was finding that jumping between the characters was a lot more fun, and also having the different abilities. Um,
and you know what? And not to like play like which game is better or whatnot, but one of the reasons why I am loving the technique from Disney Infinity over Skylanders is in Skylanders you needed the swappable figures to
yeah,
get to a certain portal. In this one, it's their
yeah,
ability on whatever they can do. Whether it's we were saying it already. If Tony Stark can fly around, well, you need those flying characters to do certain things.
yeah.
So it's like that's the cool thing about it, and it's very immersive. It makes you feel like you are doing each individual activity that each of these superheroes would do. So
Yeah,
it's kind of cool. I like that aspect of it.
I think as well. I think this sort of the. I mean, I was finding. I must admit, Black Widow and Hawkeye are two characters that I really haven't really been using. There, I got onto the Frost Giant bit and I popped Hawkeye down, and I set Black Widow down, and I actually realised she was still on zero. I hadn't actually used her the whole time during the whole playset, and literally the Frost Giant went boom, and I was gone. And it was the
Yeah.
same with Hawk. I just thought, oh, I need to really use these a little bit more. Um,
Yeah, and that's something that I found out with not just those two, but even Iron Man, or even Captain America is not only using them, but once you spec the figure, you'll see how each individually they are important.
yeah,
Because when you do, use that skill tree on Hawkeye, his the way he shoots his arrows, it makes a big difference
yeah,
compared to what he does when he's at level 1 or 2. And then another thing that I like about Hawkeye is it's giving me a little idea as to how Merida's gonna play.
yeah,
Because I'm gonna want to play as Merida, but you know well, if I'm not using Hawkeye, then I need to get used to the whole shooting range because it's definitely showing you the type of
yeah.
class of figures that they're giving you now too. You have ranged characters, you have melee. You got to get used to them now as
Yeah.
part of 2.0. So,
Because I think
and then
that's
apparently, sorry,
carry on.
one more thing. As far as Black Widow goes, she does have some pretty cool abilities once you level her up too. Like one of her special abilities is to go invisible, and so she can sneak around, or if she's being overwhelmed
Yeah.
by a lot of enemies, you can just use it and just disappear, or even attack that way, and they don't know what's going on. So
I
go on.
mean, I've been finding Iron Man is without that my favorite figure of the Avengers, and he just seems so well rounded. He's good up close. He can attack from far away. He can fly, and I just love the whole tech and the way. And he's the one character that I've just been using so much. I think that's why he's up to about level 18 or 19 at the minute because he's pretty. I've been using him a lot.
Yeah, he's actually probably my third favorite. Hulk was definitely my
Yeah,
original favorite, and Captain America is definitely my second one because again, it's just all the way you spec up your figures. But I do see what you're talking about, Iron Man, especially just you have your ranged attacks. Then you also have that he can set down those mines, and
yeah,
you can like kind of time
and then
it
he
to the
whizzes
point where
around.
somebody should. Yeah, and it's cool. So I mean that's why you got to give those other two, Hawkeye and Black Widow, a
Yeah,
chance because they have some pretty cool
because
attacks as well.
also I mean I was also I've been finding like with Nova's kind of like a little mini Iron Man. He's got quite a lot of useful little toys, and I've been using him quite a lot. I don't know if he's actually faster than Iron Man at flying, but it feels like it. It's probably just
Uh,
an optical illusion, but
Well, in the beginning he is,
yeah,
because I think because his natural ability is to fly that way.
yeah,
It's not like it's not like a tech upgrade.
yeah,
But ever since I completely skilled up Iron Man all the way, wow, he's really fast.
yeah.
I can get one side of the map to the other in I don't know in like 20 seconds. He's pretty fast.
I mean, I must admit, it's like with the skill trees, I haven't tended to be too focused on the health side of things from, like, if I've got the option of doing a team up, helps them. Well, I don't play as a two-player, so there's not really a lot of point in me using those points for that. I'd rather have more weapon power. So that's been sort of one choice I can make for me personally.
Right, yeah, and that also depends on the figure too, because I have Captain America who has more of a health upgrade on mine, but on Iron Man he doesn't, and the only reason why is because he has the shielding ability, so
Yeah.
he technically does have extra health, which is
Yeah.
it's just cool. Just the variety of things you can do with these guys is awesome.
And also, it's like you said, like with that health bar, when you put down like for example, when I was putting down Hawkeye, and I only really had like 3 bars, but then like you put Hulk down, and there's like 6, 7 bars going along,
yeah,
so he can withstand so much more.
yeah. But I mean, overall, I mean, the fact is, I mean, it's definitely a nice little collection of figures, in the beloved franchise, and it's a great playset.
Yeah.
As long as don't just focus on the story and you complete all the other things to do, like the feats and collecting boxes and doing the challenges. I mean, I even noticed there's like almost like a BMX stunt mode in the
The snow thing.
Yeah, the
I
docks. Yeah.
I did that, and I was like, this is a bit odd. But I was whizzing around in there, and it was like, okay, I'll come back into here a bit later on and have a proper play around. But
it kind of reminded me of the Cars playset, because
Yeah.
there was like this stunt park you had
Yeah.
to go to. But it was fun to see, like, Hulk making flips on a snowmobile. So
yeah.
it's kind of cool.
I mean, I think that's the thing. I think for me I think the Avengers playset is a very strong playset. It is
Yeah.
very well done. I can see how if you brought the starter pack and you popped it down, and if you were expecting a full blown video game story, you would have been disappointed. But
Right.
if you're buying the starter pack, the toy box version, and you brought this, which I'd recommend they do, it doesn't feel as bad. I can just see how it maybe why it got the reviews it did was because if they were judging this playset purely for the actual whole starter pack as a whole, I can see why people were maybe a little bit underwhelmed.
It goes down to what you said, and I love how you broke it down, because it makes so much sense. Money wise, the playsets are worth $5.
Yeah.
Money wise.
Yeah.
So don't expect it to be this huge $70 worth of game, because it's not just the playset, it's everything as a whole. So
Well, that's the thing to remember is if you look at a playset, it's $35. 2 figures are $15 each. Therefore, the playset is $5. Are you getting your money's worth? Without a doubt, they are fantastic value for money.
yeah. Yeah.
Am I gonna be using Iron Man all the time? Yes, I will be. So he's worth that. And then you've got Black Widow. Then, as if you're into her and you've got her maxed out, then you're gonna be using them, and you're gonna be using them for the next few years. So the playset, you've got to look at it as that rather than just looking at it as a traditional video game, which Avengers is not is not really aimed at that.
Yeah. Oh, and you know what? Like, going back, maybe going off on a tangent here, but going back to what we were saying earlier about that stunt area, I did want to mention this out to everybody, because they're having a lot of questions and frustration out of collecting these tech boxes and flight boxes and jump boxes. Anyways, you need to go back to that place, because you'll find some there too.
Yeah.
So don't forget about that.
No, well, I went back in there now, and I was having and there was this little box or something, and it said push me, so I did, and then I loaded back into the main story again. I'm like, okay, well, I won't do that again. That was like, well, I wanted to go through the door kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was, so I'm still got to go back in there and go through the sort of and find all the boxes, and also complete a lot of those little green challenges, because I haven't really done too many of them. Yeah. But I'm probably going to leave the Avengers for a few weeks, because we'll be discussing another playset next week and another playset the week after that before we get the Disney side.
So spoiler, next week, what would that be? Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, we can do Spider-Man. It was your choice. You would do. I haven't really done too much on Spider-Man, so that's perfect.
Let's do Spider-Man next week, so everybody stay tuned for Spider-Man next week.
Yeah, so Spider-Man will be next week, so that'll be great. So I'll start kicking off again with that tomorrow. But then going back to sort of the Avengers, um, was did you think that the mission givers were a lot better this time round than on 1.0?
Yeah, I think so. The fact that they're using like main or predominant characters as mission givers is great. I mean, yeah, you saw it in Toy Story where you have Ham or you had Rex, but you had occasional like little townspeople giving you missions or little other things giving you missions. But the fact that I fly up to Stark Tower and Jarvis is giving me a mission
Yeah.
through the little speaker thing, that was pretty cool. Or to see Wasp or Mrs. Or I'm sorry, not
Captain
Mrs.
Marvel,
Captain
yeah.
Marvel, Captain Marvel, and there was one more if I'm missing.
Sif.
Yes, thank you. So just to see just main characters giving you those missions is kind of cool. I like it. They feel more involved, even though a lot of people are like, "Oh, I want a Captain Marvel figure." Well, so do
Yeah.
I. But yet they're still part of it. That's kind of cool. So
I think they could add those figures later if they wanted to.
yeah, of
Um,
course.
I
Yeah.
think it's what was quite interesting, and maybe it gave me a bit skeptic, was the fact that they generally picked female characters as the mission givers.
Oh, and I also forgot the important one.
Oh,
the
Nick Fury.
yeah, the most I guess the controversial for a lot of people. But
Yeah,
but yeah, Nick Fury's in there too. Yeah, they're mostly female mission givers. Um, but I honestly think the story melded well that way.
yeah,
Because even though they didn't give us that many Marvel female characters for the Avengers, you got to think about the Avengers as a whole.
yeah.
The movie franchise,
There's
there
only
was
Black
only
Widow.
one
Yeah.
woman there. Yeah, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
And the fact that they chose mostly women uh, mission givers is awesome because
Yeah.
you're including more female characters in the story. So that's
Yeah,
cool.
and I think also it's introducing these characters for later dates because we know we're gonna, they're gonna eventually start. They're trying to make more of the characters mainstream, and they're
Yeah.
doing that drip feeding. Look at Guardians; they started drip feeding it out to us before the movie came out.
Yeah, now everybody wants more and more.
And apparently they announced they're going to be making an animated TV series
Mhm.
to go with Guardians. So
It's a cool little trailer too, so check it out. if you
yeah,
get a
I haven't
chance.
done that just yet. But I must admit, I was running around and it was because they made quite a few references to like Star-Lord and Rocket during the obviously you can play as Rocket, but I think Nick Fury said, "Oh, well, we can thank Star-Lord for dropping this off," or they are
Mhm.
integrating them all into it.
Yeah, that's definitely something to look forward to. I mean, especially since 1.0 was all about Disney. Well,
Yeah.
2.0 is Marvel, but we're getting Disney too. So
Yeah.
who knows? 3.0 we're getting both Disney and Marvel. So
And Star Wars.
that's well, I know. I just didn't want to. It's obvious, but yeah, Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, I do hope that when they do that next year, they don't repeat what they did with Marvel this year.
Yeah, they got to give us a little bit of everything.
I think they need to be a bit more varied. I'd love to see a starter pack with Star Wars, a Disney, and a Marvel, and
Agreed.
I think that's
Completely
where they
agree.
need to go. I think they did make a mistake with just going after Marvel. Great for us guys because we love Marvel, but
Yeah.
I think that is I'm really hoping next month when the sort of the toy box version comes out, all of that can get sort of pushed aside because everyone that's sort of either not into Marvel or waiting will then have the game, and it will just hopefully just end all of that.
Well, the cool thing is they're listening to us, so
Yeah.
as long as we keep voicing our opinion to them, they'll listen. But there's a difference between voicing your opinion and nagging and
Yeah.
complaining and insulting.
Yeah.
It's not a way to get a point across.
No,
but-
it's not, and there's some that's what happens with the internet. People get sort of it's so easy to be sort of hide behind a screen and sort of just throw insults. You've got to be constructive with it. It's like
Yeah.
we are we're complaining about certain things that aren't working, but at the same time, you've got to look at it as a whole picture.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be right. I don't think it would be right for us to just literally just sit here and talk about how fantastic everything is and how perfect it is, and we need to be looking at it from both sides.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a quite a few things right now that are annoying and that I would change, but I'm still spending hours on this game because I love it. It's
Yeah.
fun.
And do you know what the best thing is? I brought Trap Team on Friday. I played it on Friday night, and I haven't actually. I've been back into Disney Infinity the last 2 days. It just it. I went in it and I'm there going. I'm gonna jump back into Infinity. I didn't. It and that shows, and that to me was that showed me the fact of I'm more shift there. Um, I'm be honest, it's not gonna get a huge amount. I'll be of attention at the minute. I don't. It's just not quite capturing my attention the same way that I'd rather sit there and I still feel like if there's so much of Infinity left that I haven't touched.
And I was able to demo Trap Team back in May in E3, and I also demoed the Spider-Man set when they released that as a demo there too. And from the demo, just Trap Team didn't feel anything new to me. It felt kind of like a step backwards. Not like Swap Force. Swap Force was pretty cool, but yeah, I don't see myself spending any time aside from Infinity 2.0. It's just
Yeah.
there's so much to do.
Yeah, I mean, it was
How
one of
many
those
weeks are we
things.
in?
So
Sorry.
we are. Well, we're coming up to 3 weeks, is it? Three?
Yeah,
Because it
and
came
there's
out.
still a lot I have to do in this
Yeah.
game.
I mean, I've got so much to do. I've still got lots of stuff to unlock.
Yeah.
I haven't, like I said, I've only really spent an hour or so in the Spider-Man playset because I played that on day one. And it's that thing of you had to pick a toy, what to do. And I will admit, I think I spent 10 plus hours in a toy box building a Haunted Mansion toy box this week for the challenge and that's coming. I never did that in the first game.
That's awesome.
I never spent that time building. I'm building logic toys and learning how to create stuff, and I never did. I never built a single proper toy box the whole of the first game like that. And I'm 3 weeks in, and I've finished. I could probably spend more time tweaking it, but I've decided that right. I'm moving on to the Hulk Smash one next week.
I was gonna say, spoiler alert. Stay tuned for the top 5 toy boxes.
Yeah,
because Roger's gonna be one of them.
I'll be lucky. Yeah. I mean, look, I'll be lucky. I'll be happy if somebody just plays it. To be honest, it's
Well, I'm sure somebody will. There's just so many great things in there. So
I never it's that from my point of view as well of I've enjoyed building a toy box, which is a major part, and it's something that I didn't enjoy doing on the first game. I tried it and I just found it too frustrating. Last night I was just messing about, and I think in about an hour and a half I built a city with a basic racetrack, and it was more of a
that's
test.
awesome.
I was planning on doing something for the Hulk challenge, and I started doing it, and I got about halfway through and goes, no, I want to take it in a different direction. And so I thought, well, I'll just place down some tracks and stuff, and I built the track and I built it all, and I had a huge city with a racetrack within about an hour, and that was without using the auto ones. I was doing it manually, and I thought, well, if I just popped down the builders, it would have done it in seconds.
And then picking back off of what you're talking about, for anybody who's scared even to try and build something because they're afraid of the whole logic and everything, I highly recommend you go to the starter toy box where you can learn about the logic. I believe Cora from Tron gives you this first mission. Then you go inside this big Tron room, and it just teaches well, not every, but most big logic toys, and it's just so cool, like the things you can do in this game.
But also, you've got the builders that do a lot of the work for you if you want to go that route.
That's right. Yeah, if you don't want to go that way as well, definitely the builders, and now the tree builders are apparently fixed too, so that's all going to work fine.
I mean, for me personally, I've been more interested in trying to learn how the logic toys work, and to get my head around that side of things more so than just building. And one of the things I was using was using a template, popping it down, and then just going through the actual settings and what they've done to it and how they've connected it. And you pop down like an orb collector, and it's got all of the items already there. So you could then just drag all the orbs around the place, and you could use it like that, and you wouldn't have to have actually built any of the logic. It would have done it all for you. and you can change things as and when you want it, but just learning how they build it and how the logic works, it sounds a lot. It sounds very complicated when you look at it, and if you don't get it right and something doesn't work, I mean, but it's, we're a couple of days. Some toy box artists I've had a whole year getting used to the logic and getting their head around it. But I think the toy boxes will continue to get better as they go along.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just 3 weeks in.
Yeah.
There's going to be so many changes and patches. It's going to be awesome.
And I do think, I mean, I can see one of the sort of the drawbacks of, I think, as people are sort of submitting more and more toy boxes to Disney. I don't know if it's slowing down of how quick they can turn them around, but I can see why we needed to have like the developer pick and the trending options, because there's probably going to be so much sort of, literally maybe someone just spent 20 minutes just using all the builders, and it's just a random toy box. I think there's just going to be thousands of them being submitted by sort of maybe kids, etc. So we're going to need to have those sort of filters to try and sort of get sort of the better ones so we can find them easier. And also,
Yeah,
you've got like our Infinity and Beyond Facebook group where, members are like sort of commenting on, recommending toy boxes that they find, and also they're sharing their own toy boxes between sort of friends, etc. So that's always a good option as well.
well, that's one of the things I'm hoping they'll patch in and fix, is maybe like a rating system as far as a toy box goes. If you play it, and let's say somebody gives us a 5-star rating because it's a phenomenal toy box.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of a cool filter too.
I think at the minute it's literally a thumbs up. You can like it, and I think the more likes it gets, it kind of then goes into the trending. So if it's had like 50 or 100, 200, 300 thumbs up, that is almost like a 5-star. Someone's obviously liked it enough to have picked that. So it's close enough.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like an okay toy box can be like, you know what I mean? I want like an exceptional toy box to be 5-starred. So I'm like, oh, I want to see that,
Yeah.
But I do get it. The amount of likes too. That makes sense.
So, and I think once we've got all the Toy Box Summit toy boxes out the way, I think things are going to pick up. I've been sort of playing through these toy boxes, and I'm sort of just keep reminding of going. These guys created it overnight. They literally didn't sleep all night, and they were having to learn the game and build a toy box, trying to win a competition. There's no, I know for a fact that if they had a whole week to do this, they'd been very, very different.
Oh, absolutely. And even still, don't forget, we still have so much that's not unlocked, so much that's not available yet, and it's just going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing. I think as we're just going to as people are just learning and getting used to it, it will make things a lot more interesting. And
absolutely.
It just shows you of how the game is just going to continue to develop. And I think having the different themes and the different settings, and ultimately they are listening, and things are just going to keep updating. And I think we're all now just waiting to find out what these last two characters are going to be and what might be involved. And
what's funny though, Roger? It's like, to be honest with you, I don't even care what those two new figures are. I honestly am just excited for Maleficent and Donald to come out in Merida. I'm ready to play those. Not to mention the toy box discs that are in the originals version. It's just the content that's already known. Yeah. I'm just anticipating that already. The other two, whatever they are, I'm sure I'm going to be excited.
And actually, I'm kind of going to slide into this other thing. If sort of that November date, it sounds. To be honest, it could have been another month later. I've still got enough to do for the next 2 months before. Kind of wished, to be honest, that they maybe had delayed like Spider-Man till like October, or pushed it back a few weeks. Maybe not have done so much on day one, because it did feel a bit overwhelming, the amount of stuff to do on day one. Maybe if they'd held back some of the Marvel side of things, a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I can see that. That makes sense. But I also think, as far as spacing goes, I mean, I think they're going off of how the first one went off, how they had most of them available at first. I'm pretty sure this is something they're learning from too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like, obviously they've got to get everything out for the holiday season. So, having figures coming out next year, the villains, and like Jasmine and maybe these other two characters we don't yet know. It makes sense to kind of try and get them out in like after New Year's, sort of Easter time.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know purely from this thing of I've experienced it from the other side last week with the trap team side. To be honest, I found that there was so much available at launch for that, it actually put me off. And I don't know, that's the other side of things. It can easily go too much the other way. If there's too much available at launch, people are like, I can't afford all of that, and not jump in.
I reserved one of the figures, and I just ended up not honoring that reservation. I felt turned off completely.
Yeah, I mean, you're just sort of standing there looking at it, and I'm like racking it all up, and I'm just going, I don't want to spend that much money, and so I decided, just to go with the starter pack and one figure, and I can see how looking at it from that point of view, how the Marvel side could have looked from somebody that maybe wasn't that interested in Marvel, or maybe hasn't got the income to go and buy everything at the first go. And that was the thing, I felt it myself from the other side of feeling completely overwhelmed by it, and I could see how Marvel maybe could have done the same thing.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. The only difference though is that you have such a amazing cinematic universe that's done phenomenal in the box office,
Yeah.
and it has quite a following. So
Yeah.
aside from Skylanders, they have a huge following with the kids and whatnot, but I don't think it's as big as Marvel.
No, I think the Marvel brand is that much stronger. And go into some of the supermarkets and stores this week. They've got the big stands out with all the figures and everything on there, and it looks pretty good display. I didn't really see them on when I went out and brought all the figures because they were still all locked away in boxes and hadn't come out yet. But this week I really got to see everything out in the stores properly.
And I've been seeing it too. I don't know if it's stocking issue or whatnot, but I have been seeing definitely a lot of Infinity going fast. In fact, one of our members posted a picture of Target putting a limit on how many Infinity figures you can buy.
Yeah, have they been doing a promotion there with buy a figure, get a power disc pack for 99 cents, or buy one, get 40% off, or something like that? Over the last couple of weeks?
It depends on stores. Like I think Toys R Us was doing that for both Skylanders and Infinity, like buy one get one 40% off. And I think aside from launch deals, those are the only things that are current at this point.
We get nothing here in the UK, so it takes months for us to get any offers. Is that, and I don't being funny, but it's that kind of thing of, well, a few weeks after the launch, I don't see the reason why they would be doing promotions, especially with the toy box starter disc, the starter box coming out. The game's still being released. It's still new enough that they haven't released it all yet.
I think it's more like impulse buys. Like you're in there to buy the actual game itself. Oh wait, these figures aren't selling. I'm gonna take them too. That's what I think it is. Really.
I'm not being funny, but from a strategic point of view, it makes sense to reduce the play sets. Because I'll go buy Spider-Man playset. Oh, well, I'd like Venom as well, or that's kind of side of things. And same with the Guardians. Oh, I brought Guardians. Or I'll just pick up Groot. Or that makes sense.
Yeah. No, for me, I honestly think power discs. If they can do sales on those, I'd be happy because it's for some reason it's been so difficult to get all the texture discs this time around, and I'm still struggling with them. So if there's no sale, I'm not going to buy any.
I need 3 or 4 more discs to finish off the set of 40. And
I need 8.
Yeah, and I decided that I would only buy like 20 packs of the Marvel, and that would give me 40 discs, and that I could go from there. I've traded some, sold some, and I brought some off of eBay. There's still a few more I need, and those texture discs are becoming the rares. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, the different color plastic doesn't mean anything. Cause
no,
I can't find. I haven't even seen a Spider-Man, a sky or terrain anywhere near me. Like it's just so hard to find.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think I'm after one of the Star-Lord, one of the Spider-Man, and I can't think of what the other terrain is that I needed, but yeah, they seem to be the rares, and I'm not buying any more power discs packs.
Yeah, I'm
I'll buy
done.
them individually, because, and also with the Disney side coming out in a couple of weeks,
Exactly.
and I'm hoping then maybe then if I've got some more discs to trade, because I mean the 1.0 discs I've got, you might they're completely useless to try and trade. I must admit, from my point of view.
Don't count yourself out yet, because I actually got a couple of Marvel
Yeah.
ones thanks to two of my 1.0 discs.
Yeah, no,
So yeah,
yeah, I don't know. I think because so many people have been selling them so cheap that they're sort of, it's the sort of, I need to sell like 5 of them to get like one, the one I want.
well, keep in mind you also gotta make sure you gotta remember that you always have new people jumping into Infinity,
Yeah.
so they're always gonna want it. So just
Yeah.
keep it out. You never know.
I've had that little stack of doubles next to me, but it's like with the Disney ones coming out in a few weeks, I'm gonna apply the same technique I did with the Marvel. It seemed to work from my point of view. Buy 20, though I seem to find I have to buy like 5 off of different retailers because their online pre-orders will only let me order 5. So I have lots of boxes coming.
Really?
And I don't. It on one side of things, I thought, well, I'm more likely. Is it better to have everything out of one order? Or I don't think it actually makes a bit of difference because the boxes are all completely mixed up anyway.
Hey, there's no proper technique to be honest, Roger. It's just luck of the draw.
Yeah.
But
I think because I'm used to Vinimation.
Oh yeah.
Where you buy a box and you have 2 full sets. Well, I think with the power disc there isn't anything.
That's true. Yeah, I was gonna say at least possibly the 1.0 disc will be easier to trade once the Disney power disc come out, because maybe there's some new Disney fans joining Infinity just for the original. So
yeah, I mean,
because there's a huge Stitch following, there's a huge Tinkerbell following, so
yeah,
you never know.
I must admit, I've pre-ordered 5 power disc packs so far from one retailer. I need to sort of get my other ones sorted. And I've got my pre-order for my Toy Box starter pack in. I've got my pre-orders in for the other figures. They're all my pre-orders are all in, all ready to roll.
That's perfect. You're prepared.
Yes. Well, the trouble is, as well, is I find, particularly on the morning of being released, I did it. I've done it last year when like Wreck-It Ralph, etc. came out, and I went around all the supermarkets and none of them had them out for display, and I just got really frustrated with going into 4 stores and not finding them on like the day of release, and I didn't really want to pay sort of game prices, which are a few pound more than the supermarkets. And this year, that I just decided just to kind of pre-order all the Disney stuff side of things and just have them arrive in the mail, because as much as it's annoying waiting for the mailman, there's nothing worse than going into 3 or 4 shops and finding them not there. Yeah,
that's true. That's true, but some people like the hunt. It's the adrenaline of searching. But
the thing is,
I do feel your frustration.
I think I can see why, like for example, like with the Skylanders, why people go hunting a little bit more, because they throw in those random variants into different boxes, and there'll be, I think there's like 1 figure out of every case that come into the stores that are. There's only like 1, I think a bit like Francesco and Violet or something, where there's a less of them than another figure. But with Disney Infinity, that doesn't exist. There's no reason, there's no difference of where you're going to get it from or what's going to be in the store.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's something that I do like about that, though.
Yeah,
you don't worry about that.
I must admit, I don't want variants. I don't want variant figures.
Me neither. I'm done.
I don't. I love the power disc changes, but like don't give me a remolded Hulk. Give me Captain Marvel. That's gonna make Disney have got enough big characters. They don't need to be. And I'm glad that they got rid of the crystal versions for that reason.
Even though they're kind of cool looking, they're not that bad. But I was gonna say, I don't mind a repose, but let me have it like 4 years after you've released the original. You know what I mean? Like, don't do it the next year, because then it makes me feel like I wasted my money.
Yeah, and I to me, I found that the crystal figures, I haven't used them. I don't really. In hindsight, if I didn't have to have everything, I wouldn't have really brought them, because they don't offer anything any different.
Well, there you go. There you go. You just bring up a great point. John Funyaki, for skill upgrades, give the crystal figures something more special.
Yeah,
There you go. Set.
that would be good. Yeah, just give them like
Give me a reason to use them.
yeah, make them. They can be skill 25. Nobody else can. Yeah.
There you go.
Then well, anyway, guys, I'd just like to thank A for coming in. I just looked at the time and realised we have been going a little bit longer. So again, thank you very much for tuning in. Thanks to A for joining me from all the way over in sunny Los Angeles.
Yeah.
It's a
hot.
Wet
Very
and
hot.
dreary, miserable British winter. Winter's started this week. It's gone horrid. But again, we'll be back next week, and we're going to be looking at all the Disney Infinity news, and we'll be discussing the Spider-Man playset. So we've got that to look forward to
Absolutely.
this week. And also, just to remind everyone, you can check us out on Twitter at Vinimation King, on Instagram at Vinimation Kingdom. You can find us on Twitch. You can find us more importantly, on Facebook. We have the Our Infinity and Beyond Facebook group. Keeps growing. Everyone's in there discussing, trading discs, just talking about toy boxes, etc. So if you aren't a member, recommend checking that out. And more importantly, just go to VinimationKingdom.com. We have all the Infinity news and just all of that, really. So anything else you want to add, Abe?
No, just stay tuned for Spider-Man, and see you next week.
Okay, guys, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you later.